Saving Private Ryan, critically acclaimed film for the sole purpose of Saving Private Ryan. This movie in total had 11 Oscar nominations with 5 wins in various different categories. This just goes to show how good of a film this is, and in particular, the amount of work and effort that went into making this as realistic as possible. So realistic, in fact, that the director who made the film, Steven Spielberg, decided to take some extra drastic steps to make the actors feel like they were in an actual war zone, including the fact that most of the cast had to enter boot camp before filming even began, and this almost ended the movie before it even began. Hello! Welcome to Brainspill, the laziest show on the internet. My name is Tank, and today we look behind the scenes at some movie magic, or in this case, 10 days of grueling boot camp. So, for those of you that have never seen the film before, Saving Private Ryan is a 1998 film which depicted the Normandy landings during World War II. Featuring well-known actors such as Tom Hanks and Matt Damon, this movie is one of Steven Spielberg's finer movies, acclaimed for its gritty detail and realism. Steven Spielberg himself even said that the film was never intended to be an adventure, but a recreation of the closest he could ever get to the experiences of veterans that fought on the beaches of Normandy in 1944. So much so, in fact, that upon the release of the movie, the first 2 weeks when the film was first aired, the Department of Veterans Affairs in the United States had an increase in staffing on its telephone counselling line, as many veterans were distressed by what they'd seen in the film, seeking out professional help. The reason for this, and the feedback that a lot of the veterans gave after seeing the film, was the level of detail and realism that this film had, and of course for many people that were there, triggered some form of PTSD in some manner, which really speaks volumes about the attention to detail that must have been taken into account when making this movie. I mean, yes, you could write a script, plonk your characters in the scene and say, go act. That's easy, but no, Steven Spielberg doesn't do things easy. He wanted to make this as realistic as possible, and the only way to get the actors in the true mindset that they are about to storm the beaches of Normandy is to put them through a situation that soldiers would have done on the run-up to an invasion of Normandy. To catch this famed realism, Steven Spielberg decided to use some method acting and got the actors to undertake boot camp before filming even began. The studio hired former US Marine Corps Captain Dale Dye to lead the boot camp, and they picked the right man for the job, given that he is a retired captain fighting in Southeast Asia and the Middle East. The reason they did this was because they wanted the actors to appreciate the rigorous lifestyle and sacrifice that many soldiers and infantrymen make when being a soldier in real life. This ain't no walk in the park, people. Captain Dale led the actors through 10-day boot camp. 6 days were spent in the field under cold, chilly and miserable rainy weather. If you wanted actors who were tired, miserable, and perhaps even wanted to go home, then you make your actors tired, miserable, and perhaps maybe even wanting to go home. This was not your standard pampered actor on the set of a movie, mind you. There were pretty much no half measures here. They lived day by day like a soldier actually would, carrying heavy gear and military fatigues, going on hikes for long distances, and basically sleeping on the ground. This ain't no camping trip. They really intended to get these guys through a miserable time. Captain Daly would call the actors only by their character names, getting them up to speed with the soldier lifestyle, being yelled at by the captain, sleeping on the cold wet ground, and even eating ration foods from a tin can. Look, it's easy for me to stay here and get wrapped up nice and warm, and you're gonna have to pay me a lot of money to get out there and do that, so I imagine that these actors were paid quite a lot of money to go and do that, which, you know what, maybe it's not so bad after all. It was even reported that many of the actors wanted to drop out of the project at the time, presuming that before signing up to this, the boot camp would be nothing like this. But it only takes a few people to bring the morale up of everyone else, and for someone to rally the troops in dire times. According to reports, that person was Tom Hanks. With the majority of actors voting to leave, Tom commented that, "You could read books and see all the documentaries, but you're still not going to have a palpable understanding of how tired and cold and wet these guys are, and how heavy this equipment is, and and how long it actually takes to walk 3 kilometers with all this stuff hanging from you. So it was pretty much Woody's roundup that rounded up these actors into a fully fledged temporary platoon, all ready for having that soldier mindset. That's what you need to go and act like a soldier. You need to live like a soldier. Yes, I know the comments that I'm going to see down below, people are going to be like, oh well, it's not the same as the real thing, they're just actors, it's a 10-day boot camp, normal boot camp is multiple weeks long, and yes, I understand, but these guys are actors, they're not actually training to be soldiers, okay? All they need is a taste of the lifestyle, to have an appreciation for the amount of hard work that these people have to put in, and hopefully that will translate onto the big screen. The actors themselves even commented on the fact that having gone through this basic boot camp prior to filming, they felt a bond and a brotherhood of sorts having gone through that ordeal together. This is juxtaposed by the fact that as well as all the actors having to go through boot camp, there were a few notable exceptions, including that of Matt Damon, the actor who played Private Ryan in the film, who was purposefully excluded from the basic training. He commented as follows: "They started to harbour that kernel of resentment because I wasn't there. These guys are lying face down in the mud, and I'm, in a bubble bath in America. When I showed up on set, a lot of that resentment just translated right onto the screen." Well, you know what? In my opinion, you can see that on screen. Either they're really good actors, which of course they are because they won 5 Oscars, but at the same time, the fact that you know this now, going back and rewatching those scenes and seeing Private Ryan be confronted by the other soldiers, just think about what they had to go through before. Everyone else except Matt Damon. And rewatch that with that in mind and you might be able to pick it up. So yeah, I just thought that was really cool and interesting, little tidbit of a fact there, and a little bit of a pull behind the curtain, behind the scenes, of one of movies' greats. And I kind of want to rewatch it now, I'm not gonna lie. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to be notified as soon as I upload my next video, be sure to hit the bell button. And if you've got any ideas for what topics you'd like me to discuss next, let me know down in the comments below. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description. All I'm going to say is big props to everybody that had this idea, and even the people that went through the boot camp, because I think it was all worth it. If we just had a bunch of bubbly, lively Americans without a care in the world storming the beaches, I just don't think it would be quite as realistic as the reality of what happened on that day. And if you wanted a movie that replicated what happened on the day, I think the first 20 minutes of that film alone really paints a picture. So hats off to you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.